Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Reckless Paradise podcast. I am your host, Dystro, and tonight's episode is another debate hour episode, and it is over the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. This one's gonna be very kind of controversial, but is over WWE versus TNA AJ Styles. Um, Both are pretty solid in their own runs. One's just a little bit more, I guess not convoluted, but it was kind of a little bit more, what should I put it? It's a little bit more like TNA was kind of like it was his jumping off point. Like in early 2002, he made his name for himself, and he was like the only like I think he was a Triple Crown winner like by year like '04 or something like that in the company. So as of the accomplishments in TNA or NWA TNA, he was a three-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, a two-time TNA World Heavyweight Champion, the inaugural X Division Champion. He won it 6 times, which is really freaking crazy. The TNA Legend slash Global slash Television Champion 2 times. He was a four-time NWA World Tag Team Champion, one with Jerry Lynn, one with Abyss, and 2 times with Christopher Daniels, which was a very, very well renowned tag team. 2-time TNA World Tag Team Champion, one with Tomko and one with Kurt Angle. First Triple Crown Champion 5 times. First TNA Grand Slam Champion 2 times. Won the 2013 Bound for Glory series. A TNA World okay TNA World Heavyweight Championship #1 Contenders Tournament second bracket in '09. Gauntlet for the gold for the Tag Team Championships with Tomko. The NWA World Tag Team Championship Tournament in '02 with Jerry Lynn. And TNA Year-End Rewards 10 times. Feud of the Year with Christopher Daniels in '05. Finisher of the Year, Styles Clash. Match of the Year with Christopher Daniels versus Homicide and Hernandez at No Surrender in '06. Match of the Year in '09 versus Sting at Bound for Glory that year. Mr. TNA from 2003 to 2005. Tag Team of the Year in '06 with Christopher Daniels. And X Division Star of the Year in '04 and '05. I mean, you can say whatever you want about AJ Styles in TNA. It's just like one of those things where it's like TNA AJ Styles and WWE AJ Styles is kind of like a momentum shift, if you want to call it that. So he was a foundational star for TNA wrestling for over a decade. And while in WWE, he wasn't the undisputed top guy. He consistently performed as one of the best in the world and had a highly decorated career, including being a 2-time Intercontinental Champion, which that's crazy. And then he made a guest appearance at Slammiversary this year. Going back to his own stopping grounds. But AJ and TNA, he was the cornerstone of TNA from its inception, particularly known for his work in the innovative X Division. Like I said, first Triple Crown and Grand Slam champion, and the iconic matches that he's had in TNA, going against Sting, Bully Ray, Christopher Daniels for 30-minute Iron Man match, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Chris Sabin, like all these main event top like people in TNA, and also fucking Abyss too, like the steel cage match that they had, which was like kind of like what kind of like not brought AJ to the dance, but it's like his high flying moves and very groundwork and all that stuff. And then like kind of like when they did the Hogan era of TNA, he was like, like, well, brother, you're gonna be the world champion one day and all that stuff. Even though he was like a 5-time like NWA world champion and all that shit, like before Hogan came in, like, come on, dude. But yeah, like more so like X Division X Division AJ in TNA is like what kind of like gravitated me towards him a little bit more. And then I know he left for he left for Japan after 2014. So like from 2014 to when he debuted in 2016 at the Rumble that year, he went to like Japan, he went to PWG, he went to all these different indies that really wanted him and had him. Rev Pro, New Japan, Progress, like I said, PWG, just like anywhere and everywhere that they can have him. More so New Japan because he was their world heavyweight champion there. Um, and it was just one of those things where it's like, man, like, like if they had just held on to AJ at that time, I think he would have done like a little bit more good work in TNA. But I mean, sadly, like they let him go because of Dixie Carter. And then now he's in WWE. He's been there for 9 years at this point. Debuted at the Rumble 2016. And he's had like a lengthy career in WWE as well. He was a two-time Intercontinental Champion, which is actually kind of crazy to be honest with you. A two-time WWE Champion, three-time United States Champion, which that's actually kind of shocking. A one-time Raw Tag Team Champion with Omos, which can't forget Omos. The 32nd Triple Crown Champion and the 15th Grand Slam Champion under the current format. Won the 2020 Intercontinental Championship tournament, and then won a undisputed WWE Championship Eliminator tournament. And got a Slammy for Match of the Year in 2020 versus The Undertaker in the Boneyard match at WrestleMania 36. Kind of just like, I don't know, it's just with the WWE one and then the TNA one, it's like you kind of have a clear-cut winner with that. But if you want to look at it this way, he had the Match of the Year in 2016 at SummerSlam against John Cena that year. Most popular wrestler in 2017 and 2018, Wrestler of the Year between 2016 and 2018, and then Wrestler of the Decades in 2012 or 2010, I should say. And he was ranked number one in the Best of 500 Singles Wrestlers of the Year in 2010 in the PWI 500. And because that goes to show, like, how freaking good he is. But if I had to pick a winner, I would have to say probably like I would have to base it on the matches. So let's just kind of like look at matches and stuff too. So some of the best notable matches in TNA for AJ was the triple threat between him, Christopher Daniels, and Samoa Joe at Unbreakable 05 for the X Division Championship, which main evented that show, and it's highly regarded like one of the best like TNA matches in history. Then we had AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels against All Odds and in 05, the 30-minute Iron Man match for the X Division Championship. AJ versus Abyss at Lockdown 05. AJ versus Sabin versus PD at Final Resolution 05, which that was Ultimate X match for the X Division Championship. And then AJ versus Kurt Angle in 09. Which, like, to be honest with you, it's like that's not really bad, like, list for some of like that's gonna be like, like if you're trying to get them into wrestling, kind of like show them like some TNA matches that are like really really good to you, and then show some like WWE stuff, and then like show some other stuff in between. The Christopher Daniels match at Destination X in 2012, that was a good one too. Styles versus Jerry Lynn versus Low Ki in 2002, which was actually pretty good too. Samoa Joe, AJ versus Samoa Joe at Turning Point in 05, which was pretty solid too. Early stages of AJ in in TNA, it's like, it was kind of like a sky's the limit. He was kind of like somebody had put it kind of like neatly in a little bow. It was like he was a small fish in a big pond filled with like all these main event level talent. Um, and it's like he kind of was like he's already broken through that glass ceiling. So it was kind of a culture shock to like see him in WWE. So because like he was kind of starting from square one again, if you think about it. Because when he reaches WWE, he's a global wide phenomenon. He had the lengthy career in TNA, and then he does the New Japan stuff and indie stuff, like goes to all these different promotions and all that stuff. Does forms a Bullet Club in New Japan, and then he goes to WWE and he has like some good matches. He wins some titles and all this stuff, but doesn't kind of have the exact same level of I guess respect, if you want to call it that. Because like when he was in TNA, he was started from the ground up. Like he was in WCW in 01. When the company folded, like he was like, okay, well, I gotta find work. So then TNA was like, oh, hey, like let's go with NWA Wildside and kind of bring some of their talent in. And then you have Abyss, you have AJ, you have Daniels, you have Joe from ROH, you have like some of your homegrown talent there in TNA. So AJ in TNA was like kind of a homegrown talent person that they can mold and kind of like make him a little bit better. But now we're on to the WWE side of this. He's had some numerous matches since his debut at the 2016 Royal Rumble against John Cena, Samoa Joe, and Cody Rhodes. The latter, which was the I Quit match at Clash at the Castle. You can see the John Cena AJ Styles match from 2016 in SummerSlam, the SummerSlam 2018 match between Styles and Joe, which should have been better. Not gonna lie, should have been better. The Clash of the Castle match last year. AJ versus Sammy versus Jeff for the Intercontinental Championship during pandemic. Just saying, that was actually kind of cool. AJ versus Bryan in 2020, which was still when we had Daniel Bryan before he goes over to AEW. AJ versus Seth Rollins at Night of Champions series ago, which was actually kind of good too. It's like it's kind of tough to call. It's really kind of tough to call. You could also say the TLC match that he had with Dean Ambrose was actually kind of good too. Because that X-Plex that he takes onto the chairs was like gnarly. It was really, really gnarly. And you have the trilogy with Cena, which is like actually really freaking good. And then you have like the two matches with Roman in 2016. I really don't want to count the match with Jericho because it was like they had Fastlane and then they had a Mania. That was his first Mania. You could have kind of given the rub to AJ in those two matches, just saying, because you brought him in and you're like, okay, well, you're gonna have him at the debut, have him debut at the Rumble at number 3, which we should have been 30. That would have been really good. And then have him do like the Final Four thing, and then like he's not gonna win the whole thing, but like kind of like come on, like Rollins and AJ from Money in the Bank 2019. That was actually kind of solid for the Universal Championship, I think. The Elimination Chamber 2019, which he was part of, which was actually kind of good. That was the whole Kofi Mania thing going on there. It's like he's got some good matches. He's really got some good matches, but all of his best matches were in TNA. I think. So, I think that's a clear-cut winner. I think TNA AJ is way better than WWE AJ. I feel like with TNA AJ, he was like a young kid who was like just getting into the business, and then like they kind of like helped motivated him and kept kind of helped like mold him into what he becomes until he leaves in 2014. And then he does the indie stuff, does the New Japan stuff. And then when he goes into WWE, it's like they kind of just like okay, we're gonna make you like have this like the long hair still, and you have the beard and all that stuff. But then it's like his promo work was kind of okay. Ring awareness and ring prowess was like still there, but he was kind of getting wind down a little bit. Plus, like that's what happens when you get older. And like he's gonna be retiring at the end of this year, which like kind of sucks. It kind of sucks really. It's because like we took AJ Styles for granted. And like he put his body on the line for us like every single time he would go out there. And that's kind of like a good thing, I guess. It's kind of a cool thing to like witness the rise and the trials and tribulations of AJ Styles from like from being in WCW to it dying, and then he's like, okay, where the hell am I supposed to go? Then like TNA picks him up, and then like he has that lengthy career, like 12 years in the company, and then does the indie run, which is like the best I think of his run, and then goes into WWE and all that stuff. He does like he's like off the bat like a main event person, but it's like if you put him in the opener, mid card, or semi main or whatever, it's like he's still gonna put out fantastic matches anywhere he goes. But he's 48 years old now. He's starting to wind down a little bit. He's like look, guys, like I know, I feel, he's like I feel sorry, but he's like he's got to think about his life and he's got to think about his like well-being at this point. And it's just crazy. It's so crazy that we got him for now until he does retire. But he is a phenomenal competitor, phenomenal athlete, and a phenomenal person. And hopefully, AJ Styles will continue just to just live life with his wife and kids. But yes, clear-cut winner, TNA AJ Styles. And that is it for this debate hour. This is the final episode of August, going into September. If you guys have made it to the very end of this episode, we do really appreciate it. Please make sure to follow us on all social media links in the description below, which will take you to our Linktree page, which will take you to our Instagram pages, Twitter pages, the podcast Reddit page, my gaming YouTube channel is on there. We are at 1550 again. Hopefully we can make it to 1600. I gotta have I gotta have a lot of believers in me, and a lot of like charisma and just God, we just gotta get that done. Cause like if I can make it to 1600, then sky's the limit. I can just die happy. And tonight's song of the night is gonna be 3 Days Grace. And I am going to do Life Starts Now. I think that's what it is. Life Starts Now. And I think that is it. But if it is not that song, I am going to do 3 Days Grace, World So Cold. I think Marissa will probably be like, yeah, like, well, that first one is not a real song, you fucking idiot. But if it is, oh well, we have two songs to pick from. So, either Life Starts Now or World So Cold from 3 Days Grace. I will just have to pick. But yeah, I will see you guys in September. Peace!